So the first thing I want to say to you is hi, I noticed that you're looking at a screen, and hi, I guess I am because I'm looking at the camera. So when I went to India, my big surprise was to realise that there's a lot of people in the world that don't even have access to a screen, and it simply doesn't exist. And in our Western technology world, screens have become such a everyday part of our lives that I cannot go for a day without one, frankly. And when my phone recently lost all its contacts and didn't work, my goodness me, that was interesting. So I'm aware that we've all become very dependent on the screens, those of us who have access to them on a daily basis. So when you think about it, you've got your TV, you've got your computer, you've got your phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, it seems to be what everyone has these days. It's like, hey, screens seem to be everywhere. And then of course there's the game console, let's not forget them. So the first thing is the typical adult view, and it's, oh, it's so wrong, and these children shouldn't be playing these computer games, and they're violent, and they're this and they're that, and there's a whole divide starts to occur between the generation that spends a lot of time on their screens, often playing games, and there's the other lot who just don't get it and think it's a bit weird. And I'm very grateful for my own experience of people I know with their games, because what I've learned is that actually the screen that is the game player screen is literally the preparation for what's to come after 2012. None of us know what's going to happen, but one thing we're all aware of is this year we are becoming more empowered than we ever have been. And we are all in the process of literally gods in the making. This is what's going on. We're changing from beings that have experienced millennia of slavery, enslavement and victimization to becoming beings that are first of all free and then powerful creators. And we are going to be in the position of creating worlds. And the first thing we do is to get this one sorted out. I quite agree with you. There's a lot to do here, definitely. And we're going to have abilities and powers that we cannot even conceive of to make this a very quick job, because our Mother Earth really wants our help. No question about it. But getting back to the game player, some of these gamers, there's obvious ones like The Sims, but there's much less obvious ones. And what you can see, if you take a really deep look at what's going on, is that person, and often the person's a child, what they're doing is they're using the ones and the zeros of the digital world to actually become gods. And in a sense they are gods, and some of these games, things like Oblivion and Baldur's Gate, and I'm sorry I can't remember all the names of these games, but some of them, they actually create towns, they create whole cultures, and then they go into their battles, whatever it is they do, but they're literally in a process of creation of something from scratch. And that's quite amazing when you think about the implications of that, how that can prepare a person for all sorts of learning without the need to get their feet muddy and to make horrendous mistakes, like we've seen with the planning systems in different countries and building horrendous places for people to live in, the horrible concrete blocks of flats that start decomposing as soon as they're built. Imagine the learning that's actually happening through people experiencing the world of the screen. So that's one aspect, becoming a creator through game playing. And then there's the more mundane aspect, which is much more what I'm doing, which is being on email, putting things onto YouTube. And it's a double-edged thing, because on the one hand we are in this crazy situation, we might not even know what the person in the house or flat next door looks like, because we're not that clued into what's going on in our immediate locality. But on the other hand, you might be playing a game with someone who might be living over in Kamchatka or Beijing, and that's an interesting situation, that the screens, on the one hand they seem to separate us from people, but on the other hand they actually put us into contact with people, into places we would never be able to go in a whole lifetime. It may be that I might never get to China, but I could be playing a game with someone, I might find that they're from China, and I might get on the email and I might start having a conversation with them. Or I'm so old-fashioned, of course you would be doing email, it'll be Facebook, wouldn't it, or Skype or whatever. So we're living in a really amazing time, and I want to acknowledge the power of the screen. And this is my own personal little 10-piece where my feeling is that all the, what I would call the hard modern technology, the camera, the computer, the phone, the TV, the game console, all these really are giving us the ability to realise that we have more ability than we realised. In the life pre-screen, we had a lot of limitation imposed on us. We didn't think we could travel all over the world. We didn't think we could go from one part of the world to the other part of the world instantaneously, and yet that's what people are doing every time they're Skyping or whatever it is they're doing, you know. So this ability that technology is giving us to be able to instantly locate from one place to another, Well, here's the other one. How about being able to be in many places at the same time? Well, guess what? If someone's watching a YouTube film and someone else is watching the YouTube film, it's in a different part of the world. This is preparing us for the concept of multi-location. So all the things that I was taught were impossible as a child, but I saw happening in reality in my science fiction books, inside the active imagination of writers. So many of these things, of course, having come to pass, and we'll all take it for granted, like the phone. You know, it's amazing to think when I was a little kid, the idea of a phone in your pocket, you laugh at the idea, you're crazy, but it's all reality. So I see that these technological advances are going to simply remind us of our birthright, which is we can do all these functions without technology. So in a sense, the technology is helping itself into self-redundancy when we realise that when we get fully in tune with our abilities and powers, we can do all these things. So what an exciting year. Give gratitude for being alive and love it. That's what I suggest you to do. Just love your life. And if you've got a screen, enjoy it. And if you haven't got a screen, enjoy life without the screen.